All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, and let's settle in the sanctuary here. And hello to everybody at home. Today's daily word is grace. So let's sing this old chestnut. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now am found. I am blind, but now I see. And 'twas grace that taught my heart to sing, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear an hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares I have already passed. Thy's grace that brought me safe thus far to freedom that will last.
Well, thank you, Mark. And yes, you stole the show over what the daily word was. A little preview there.
Just guess.
Yes. So, welcome to Unity of Syracuse. I'm so glad to see the smiling faces here, and imagine those out on our live streaming. I am Leland Jackson, and I am your platform assistant for today. Some just quick special reminders. Fellowship Hall is open and is the parking lot entrance. And we also are streaming this service down in the Fellowship Hall, so if you're one that can't really make it up the stairs, but one can make it into the Fellowship Hall, you can join the service that way with us here. We will have coffee and tea after service, no food, and we just remind everybody to remain masked when practical. And just watch your spacing around everyone for everybody's safety and comfort. So, today's daily word. Grace. Grace is my constant blessing. I discover grace all around me when I open my eyes, my mind, and my heart to presence. Grace reminds me that God's love is active everywhere and at every moment. Grace can be as quiet as a whisper. It's in the love I hear in the voice of someone dear, and in the warmth and tenderness of a comforting touch. Grace is in the heartfelt welcome I receive when invited to a friend's house and home. It is the bliss I feel when I know I truly belong. God is in the heart of all grace as goodness and kindness in action, always mine to receive and give in kind. My growing awareness inspires me to share this activity of God generously by calling it into expression. And from Acts 20, verse 32, and now I command you to God and to the message of his grace, a message that is able to build you up and to give you the inheritance among all those who are sanctified. Grace. You know, I was truly inspired by the sentence that said, it's the bliss I feel when I know I truly belong. And isn't that sense that we have here at Unity of Syracuse? That sense of belonging and that bliss and the grace that comes in those moments? It's just so heartfelt that we are able just to be moving and be in presence. And when we do it with this grace, there's an ease that so comes in all that we do. And it's such a blessing to share that back and forth. So remember to take that breath and use grace in all that you do every day. So last week marked our official reopening of in-person youth and family ministry. What an excitement it was to have them back and continue on in this way. So children 4 and up are invited to join us, meeting our teachers in the back, and they will then go down to the manse for their time together. And we look forward to them to rejoining us at the end of the service. So thank you, Mary Beth. You can leave. Yep. Unless you want to stay for the announcements, but you can have your time together with the kids. All right. So just some announcements. As a reminder, with the Youth and Family Ministry, they have their spacing. Importantly, they have their own craft box so that they aren't going to be sharing their supplies with others. They will be distanced as possible and masked, and it's just a wonderful thing that we're able to bring them back in and they're able to have that time together. We are looking for some fellowship hall hosts, so someone who would be willing to get the coffee ready for service afterwards. And you have more questions about that. Joanne, are you putting a list together? You have that? Okay. All right. And you don't be surprised if you're down there after service and you get a little knock on your shoulder. Would you like to do it in a couple of weeks? And I think we made this announcement last week, but Kathy Nichols has been our bookkeeper for many years, and she has decided to take a break, be able to have her winters and go some places. And so we just really appreciate all of her service here, and we are looking for a replacement. So if any of you know someone who does, they need to be very proficient in QuickBooks. That's the big thing with it. But it's probably 3 to 5 hours a week. And Kathy will help train, assist with this person. So we are in search at this moment. 2 Sundays from now, December 5th, that is our Christmas tree party after the service. We'll be putting the Christmas tree up. So Patty O is helping organize that. See her if you want to help with that project on that Sunday. The Monday prayer circles continue on the first and third Mondays. And so the next one will be Monday, December 6th. There is a new offering of a grief workshop. This is being done through, I don't know whether it's the Eastern region or not, but it is going to be on December 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Probably being done more through UWM even, but you do need to register if that's something that you would want to participate with. And, for these things, please reference our constant contact email, that the church bulletin that goes out. More details are there, more links and things ready to go on. And I'm going to ask Natalie to come up. She has a couple of other things to share with us.
Morning, everybody. Hey, everybody on live stream. So I have an announcement. This is for our sacred service ministry here at Unity. So we're adopting UWM practice of creating a sacred service ministry. This creates a culture of being called meaningful service to our ministry here at Unity of Syracuse. Its goal is to call and engage people into growing and evolving spiritually through meaningful time of giving their treasure, talents, and time. This service involves any activity, whether it's one-time service such as decorating the sanctuary for Christmas, or staying after the Sunday service to stuffed envelopes, or committing to serve on an actual team. Most importantly is serving on our teams here at Unity of Syracuse. The Sacred Service Ministry Coordinator is designated to get this up and running, and we show our gratitude for Joanne for doing that. The coordinator is a liaison between the team leader and the board. And at this time, the current active teams will be posted downstairs. And at some point early next year, when we're in our phase 3 of reopening, we'll incorporate more teams into our sacred service ministry here. So stay tuned for more announcements and emails. And if you're called to serve, please step forward. I did sacred service, Seva it was called, when I was volunteering at Kripalu, and Seva is Sanskrit for selfless service, and it was in my selfless service that I was able to give of myself and almost lose myself in that service, and it really brought a lot of gifts that I was not aware of while I was doing it after the fact. So it was a really powerful experience to provide selfless service, and so we're hoping that that is created here at Unity of Syracuse through our sacred service ministry here. I have another announcement. As you guys may have seen in our Constant Contact Bulletin, we applied for a technology grant. It's Ida Bowles. It's from Unity of Long Island. And I got a letter yesterday in the mail from Unity Long Island, and I'll read it. Dear Ms. Dart, it is my pleasure to enclose a check in the amount of $5,000. In 1922, Charles Fillmore broadcast the first Unity radio over station WOQ, Kansas City, and today we can utilize cutting-edge technologies and the internet to spread the Unity message worldwide. We trust that this grant will assist your ministry in serving its members through online activities during this time of limited opportunities for in-person gatherings. We look forward to hearing how you use this grant and the effects of the efforts in strengthening and growing your ministry. Thank you for all you are and know. We behold the Christ in you, your church board and members. So I want to give a big thank you to Unity Long Island and John Z. Here's the actual check, so it's right here. And I want to thank the board and the president, Leland Jackson, for holding the vision. And this will help us with our audio and visual upgrades. So thank you so much.
You know, I just want to say that a little over a month ago, the board was looking at what we could do to update what our AV stuff was, and we had a proposal that was going to be in the nature of $1,000 to $1,500. And this totally blows us away. It really lets us expand to even something greater. And we will be having a meeting in a couple of weeks, several of us who do the AV, so we know what things need to be, with a gentleman who is a consultant in this, and we'll get this going. So it was just such an exciting thing that came together. Mark?
Can I make an announcement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, come.
Sounds like ARPA money. I just wanted to give an update, since I'm here, that the ministerial search committee has been reactivated. We've met a couple of times. We have had to update the packet. You'll hear me refer to that a lot. That goes to Unity Worldwide. That contains the advertisement and then a lot of information about our church to a potential candidate. And we're all holding that perfect love in our hearts that we are going to attract that wonderful person to us, hopefully by the springtime. So that packet is almost ready to go. Hope to have it out by the end of the month. They have to get some financials from Kathleen and Leland, and the committee have all been working on that. So that is in swing and in process again. So I will try to keep everybody updated. So the next step is for us to post that ad and then wait and patiently wait for that perfect love to bless us by sending us an application.
Yeah, Mark had me sign the application piece today, so that part is, check that one off. So it's getting very close to be submitted. All right. It's time now to welcome our guests. Do we have anybody here today that is visiting us for the very first time? Nope. they all look very familiar faces. So keep that in mind, that it might be a nice idea to bring a guest and things, although I think there is one sort of new guest. Kate, your daughter is present? Yes, so we have one in YFM, so we have someone new there. So great, Kate, that you were able to bring your daughter today. And now let us stand and greet our neighbors here with that namaste bow and just that presence of accepting and entering grace for all. And as we're now standing, our statement of being should be on the board. God is all, both visible and invisible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am an individualized expression of God. I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. Thank you. So our 5 basic unity principles. It grounds us, it serves us, and lets us know how to behave and work and everything that comes on. And it makes our lives move. So first, God is the source and creator of all. God is good and present everywhere. Number 2, we are spiritual beings created in God's image. Number 3, we create our life experiences through our way of thinking. 4, there is power in affirmative prayer. And 5, we live these spiritual principles. So is there a couple of you who might want to share how these principles showed up in your life this past week and share it? Sibby, we'll get a mic to you.
So 10 days ago, my little granddaughter came into this world, and I was blessed to be present at the birth and for the 40 hours preceding the birth. So she didn't come into this world without some drama, and quite frankly, she was whisked off to the ICU, the NIC ICU, immediately after birth. And so there was a lot of tension and fear around that, and it was difficult to hold this, right? So in the midst of challenging situations, I know this, but it's hard to hold it. So I reached out immediately to my prayer chaplain team and to other friends that I know would be praying with me. And I have to say, what this is about. When we can't hold it for ourselves, that's why we come together. We can hold it for each other. And I felt that strength from those prayers when I couldn't, at that moment, feel it. And yet, I know that she was richly blessed, and she's perfectly fine. She is home and happy, and so are we. And her middle name is Grace. And so today, when the line you picked out was the one that jumped out at me too, that it is grace is bliss when we know we belong. And Lottie belongs. She belongs here. She belongs with us. She belongs in this world to grow up with the love, under the love that she's receiving. So I'm just truly blessed, and so thank you for holding those prayers.
Maria?
On the way here to church, before I got here, I was having a hard time. My foot was hurting, etc. And I was debating whether I should do it or not. And then I'm driving, and I'm thinking, I just threw on anything and decided to just come to church. And there was a woman at the corner when I make the turn. And I hesitated whether to give her money or not, because I usually have a little bag of some change. But something told me that I should. So I picked out the bag, and I took up a handful of quarters and nickels and dimes, and I held it out, and I watched her hobble from where she was sitting to where my car was. Now, when I woke up this morning, my right foot was killing me, but I have a brace that makes me walk better. And I thought, she doesn't even have a brace. And she came to my window, and I handed her the money, and I thought, okay. And remember, my mindset is I got dressed quickly, I don't look the best, whatever. She smiled, and she said to me, "You look beautiful, and I love your earrings." And that's it. That was it. I handed her the change, and I thought, this woman that I don't know just made my day by giving me a compliment on a day when I wasn't feeling up to it, and I had the change ready for her. So these things work. These principles that we work by, we don't know when they're going to show up in our lives, in what form, whether they're a child or somebody that's homeless. I don't know whether she's going to use this money for whatever, but that's not my problem. My part of it was to give her something, and she gave me so much more than the change I handed her. So that was my day today.
Thank you, Maria. You know, just the way that blessings come in our lives, it's just so amazing if we are open, and watchful. So now is the prayer portion of our service. Natalie's been serving as our prayer chaplain today, and she'll be bringing our prayer box forward in a moment. We know that we do have a prayer chaplain ready to pray with you both before and after the service. And at Unity, we were founded on prayer. And Silent Unity has been praying continuously for over 130 years. I can remember when we said it was just over 115 or so forth, but it's been over 130 years that they have been praying 24 hours a day. If you've not yet placed your prayer intention in the box, you can do so after the service. You may just hold it on your heart, because we know that it is just in that initial holding that it is received by Spirit. So if we do keep the written intentions here at the church for 30 days. We don't look at them, but we do pray over them. And then after the 30 days, they're mailed on to Silent Unity, where they continue to hold them for another 30 days. So we'll ask Natalie to bless the box.
So let's soften our gaze or close our eyes and take in a nice deep cleansing breath and release. And let's do that one more time and take the deepest breath that you've taken all day. Mother, Father, everywhere present, Spirit, we're so grateful for this opportunity to come together and be here, be wherever we are, for we know that Spirit is there. And so as we channel our energy to our thoughts or our prayers or this prayer box, we know that everything is in divine order, coming to us as it does, and we are open and receptive to receive the blessings of our lives. And so today, as we move and groove through our lives, with each moment, we are open to receive God, light, love, Spirit, generosity, prosperity, forgiveness. And we are so grateful for this opportunity to evolve our consciousness and step into a state of being connected with God. Amen.
Please stand as we have another wonderful musical selection to go through. And after that, we will have Patsy Scala as our speaker.
Hey, we haven't done this in a long time. I give thanks for all the abundance in my life. I give thanks for the abundance in my life. I give thanks for the abundance as the Spirit flows among us. I give thanks for the abundance in my life. I give thanks for all the bounty in my life. I give thanks for all the bounty in my life. I give thanks for all the bounty as the love of God surrounds me. I give thanks for all the bounty in my life. I give thanks for all the treasure in my life. I give thanks for all the treasure in my life. I give thanks for all the treasure. Giving back is such a pleasure. I give thanks for all the treasure in my life. And I give thanks for all that treasure, 'cause giving back is such a pleasure. I give thanks for all the treasure in my life.
Good morning. Good morning. So we give thanks for a lot of things. How many of you give thanks in all things? Okay, I don't see any hands up. Neither do I. I have to admit that when someone gets that last parking space at Wegmans just before Thanksgiving, I'm probably not giving thanks. But we should be. We should be. So I'm going to be talking about thankfulness and being thankful in all things, and gratitude and grace, and all of those things that occur because Thanksgiving is this week, and this is the Sunday before Thanksgiving. So all around the country, friends and family are going to be gathering around the table giving thanks, or maybe some of us will be sitting alone on that day. Maybe some of us will be enjoying that peace and quiet. And maybe others of us will be lonely, grieving for people we've lost. That one can touch me, even as I'm surrounded by friends and family. But we need to give thanks in all things. Now, maybe we'll be eating turkey, and maybe some of us will be eating tofurkey, or dishes of vegetables, or something like that. But no matter where you are or what you're eating, the news media is going to be telling us to give thanks and to feel gratitude. And I'm going to do the same thing. This giving of thanks is easy when we're surrounded by family and friends. Maybe it's harder if something has happened in some of our lives during the past year to give thanks. Maybe it's harder if we're alone. Maybe it's easier if we're alone. I don't know. But we are all approaching Thanksgiving in a different way, and we're all approaching it giving thanks for the abundance in our lives. So as we approach this national holiday, I want to point out something. Thanksgiving is not just a day. It's a way of life. And that's what I'm really talking about when I talk about Thanksgiving. 13th century mystic Meister Eckhart, whom I think most of you know, I honor his work, said that if the only prayer you ever say is thank you, it is enough. And St. Paul tells us, in all things give thanks. He doesn't say give thanks for what we like. he says, in all things, give thanks. Okay, so it's kind of easy to be grateful when we have a full table and when we have family and friends and everybody is there whom we love. But in all things, it gets a little harder, doesn't it? For example, how many of us have that crazy uncle who gets drunk and is of an opposing political party and starts arguments at every Thanksgiving dinner and every holiday dinner? Some of us do, some of us don't. Do we have to be grateful for somebody like that who's disruptive? And more deeply and more profoundly, do we have to be grateful for all the tragedies that are going on in the world and the tragedies that have touched each one of us in the past year? And I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say yes. Now, it is a qualified yes, but a qualified yes is still a yes. There is always something to be grateful for in all things. I want to take you back and remind you of the lessons that we gave in the beginning based on Robert Brummett's book, Finding Yourself in Transition. Brummett said, life doesn't happen to you. Life happens for you. It happens for us. Life is for us. Life is in our favor, including all those things we'd rather not be thankful for. They all happen for a reason. To take us higher? To teach us? I don't know. There are many reasons. So I want to go back in time and talk about the first celebration of Thanksgiving, which wasn't called Thanksgiving. It was before this country came into ideological existence, at least, although it took place in an area sort of close to where we live. It was the exchange of food among warring people, the people who had come from Europe and the indigenous people who lived here. And I believe that there was deep thanksgiving in this meal, even if all they were thankful for is that they weren't fighting anymore. They weren't killing each other anymore. Now, what happened to the indigenous people after that is another story, but I think at that first Thanksgiving, which wasn't named at that point, there was a lot to be grateful for. So I want to visit our 5 basic principles, at least 2 of them. Principle number 1 is God is all. God is a presence that is within all things. In everything. So if we say God is in everything, doesn't it make sense that in everything there's something that we can give thanks for? It's only logical. Even in those things we don't like, there's something that we can be thankful for. Remember what St. Paul said, in all things give thanks. And principle number 2 says, we are one with this allness. We are part of this allness, which means that within each of us, there's something to be grateful for. In us, there is something to be grateful for. I'm going to quote poet Mary Oliver, poet I love. And she said, and I quote, "Is it not incredible that in the acorn someone has hidden an entire tree? Is it not incredible that within the acorn someone has hidden an entire tree?" And within every one of us and everything we encounter, there is something that we may not see, and that something is something we can be thankful for. So back to Thanksgiving dinners. If an entire oak tree is in a tiny little acorn, that big, what larger, vaster things might be included in this holiday of Thanksgiving? Of course, there's gratitude. The abundance in our lives, as Mark sang to us. There's gratitude woven through all of these celebrations, and a simple sense of thanking that is as small as the kernel within the acorn and as vast as galaxies. That's what gratitude is. It is tiny and it's galactic at the same time. Gratitude is the acknowledged reason for our Thanksgiving celebrations, even when we don't feel particularly grateful. And it is born of grace, which is our daily word for today. It's a gift given by something larger than we are and larger than we will ever be. Grace, gratitude, thankfulness in all things. So I was thinking about the upcoming Thanksgiving dinner, which will include not a large group, but a group all of whom I love deeply. It made me think of my childhood Thanksgivings. And the best one of all, and I'm going to tell you about it in a story. My father was still alive, so since he passed away when I was 11 years old, I'm guessing I must have been about 10 at the time. And a huge, gigantic snowstorm had blanketed Knoxville, where I lived, wiped out all the electrical power. Now, in retrospect, we probably had an inch of snow, but in the South, an inch of snow is like a blizzard up here. Anyway, with no electrical power, there was no way to prepare a holiday meal. My mother couldn't cook what she had bought. We couldn't cook. We couldn't do anything. And we didn't have a fireplace. So we went across the street to our dear neighbor's house, my mother's best friend, our family friend. Their names were the Walkers, the Walker family. We went across the street to their home where they have a fireplace. And Mr. Walker cooked whatever was cookable over an open fire. Now, turkeys are not cookable over an open fire. So we had whatever pickings were in their refrigerator. And that was our Thanksgiving dinner. There was no heat, and it was probably all of 40 degrees, which again, in the South, is a lot colder than it is up here. But we were warmed by that fire. And we were warmed by the love we shared with these people. And we ate whatever was available. We shared love. And I was reminded of another Mary Oliver poem as I thought back on this long ago Thanksgiving. And this is the poem. The leaf has a song in it. The song you heard singing in the leaf when you were a child is still singing. So I realized that whatever it was that draws my mind and heart back to that long ago Thanksgiving when I was 10 years old is still present in today's holidays, even though there are only 2 of the participants in that particular feast who are still on this planet. I'm one of them, obviously. Whatever it was that takes me back is the feeling of giving thanks, gratitude. So here's the thing. It's hard to feel thankful about losing electrical power. Harder still if you lose electrical power in the middle of a snowstorm. But within that loss was one of the childhood experiences that meant the most to me, that I remember to this day, that I will never forget. And the same is true of a lot of the things that happened to us or happened for us. Things that we may brush off as trivial, because sometimes the blessing within the thing is far greater than the thing itself. I'm going to repeat that. Sometimes the blessing within the thing is greater than the thing itself. Sibby spoke of the long, long, long time that it took for her granddaughter to be born. It isn't the time spent wondering and waiting that she's grateful for. It's the birth of that beautiful little child into the world. The thing within the event is greater than the event itself. And this is true of things we don't like, too. In his prosperity course, Keys to the Kingdom, David Owen Ritz lists this as one of the steps toward prosperity. And he says, look for good in what seems like a negative experience. I would add, look for good in everything, because it's there. It's there somewhere. I read an article about a man who was having coffee with a friend, and the friend asked him what he was thankful for. And so, taking a sip of his coffee and taking a moment to think, the man answered, and I quote, I am thankful for all the things that didn't turn out my way. His friend didn't understand. So he explained, things which didn't happen my way gave me lessons and experiences that paved the way for new doors to open and new journeys to begin. I am in a better and happier place in life than what I would have been if certain things had gone my way. The friend thought for a moment and then agreed and said, yeah, it's the unexpected turns in life that push us out of our comfort zone. They bring forth new opportunities that are more fulfilling. They often lead to magical moments, lifetime memories, and wonderful victories. There's something to be thankful in everything, which is why Paul said, in all things give thanks. So let's look at some of the things that are going on and see what might be worthy of thanks in them. So I'm going to start simple, and I'm going to start personally. I didn't get much sleep last night. I didn't get much sleep because at some bizarre hour of the morning, I felt a tickle on my face that vaguely felt like whiskers tickling me. And I felt something nibbling my nose. And I woke up, as you would too. And it was my little cat Flower. Now, was I grateful? Am I grateful that I didn't get a lot of sleep? No. Am I grateful that it happened? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Anyone who has ever awakened in the morning to a cat loving their face has been blessed. Deeply, deeply, deeply blessed. So then I started backing off from myself a little bit and saying, okay, Paul said, in all things give thanks. What about the political infighting we see these days? My initial reaction is, it's horrific. Still, I'm grateful for it because it's an example of free speech. We are free to say what we choose to say. Now, some people say things that I don't like at all, but they're free to say it. And I'm free to answer back with what I feel. War. Nobody's grateful for war. But as we used to sing, and I don't know if we're going to sing it today or not, that's up to Mark. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. If there is peace in one heart, there is peace on earth. And for that we can give thanks, even if there is war going on around us. And I'm going to jump into a really tough one here. This is a really tough and hard and painful one, and that's COVID. There is nothing about COVID that I can find to be thankful for other than the fact that I and those I love don't have it, although some of those I love have had it and have recovered from it. But I think we can be thankful that it has united a planet. We're all in this together. And I think we can be grateful and give thanks in the understanding of our own fragility and how to protect one another. And I think we can give thanks that vaccines were developed so quickly and that we are willing within this congregation and within almost everywhere I go to wear masks to protect one another. It's a horrible thing, but within it, there are things that we can look at and say, okay, in this too, I can give thanks. So let's back off from that and realize that Paul was right when he said, In all things give thanks. Everything has something within it that we can be thankful for and grateful for. Gratitude comes from grace, which comes from that divine allness. And when grace descends on all of us, as it always does, it surrounds us, the result is gratitude, and the result of gratitude is giving thanks. So remember what I said, Thanksgiving is not just a day, but a way of life. So as we go into meditation, I would like you to think of the one thing for which you are most grateful. It may be impossible, but I invite you to close your eyes. And I'm going to read a poem by Unity's Poet Laureate, James Dillett Freeman, that will lead you into a sense of holiness and gratitude. It's called Thank You. Through every sprouting seed, life without let or heed gives, seeking to be more than it was before. You are a work of love, the longed-for product of perfection's hungering to form a perfect thing. All heaven and all earth converged around your birth and labored as you grew to frame a perfect you. A you for which I am deeply thankful. As we take deep breaths, allowing breath as spirit to move, sanctify our entire bodies. And to move out to others in gratitude, in grace, in thanksgiving, and in silence. I invite you to gently begin to feel your presence here in this sanctuary, this holy place. To feel the sacred presence of those around you. The sacred gift of this holiday to come. And when you are ready, I invite you to open your eyes and to give thanks in all things. And so it is. And so we gently and lovingly and with gratitude allow it to be. Namaste.
Thank you, Patsy. Just such a reminder of a way to live, just to be thankful. And so with that, we will have our mission statement. And this really defines who we are and how we work. So say it with me, please. Unity of Syracuse inspires, awakens, and transforms lives through unlimited love, prayer, and service. And so I'll ask our ushers to come forward, and as you prepare your gifts and offerings, we can hold it in our hands. I have my green card down on the bench. I didn't bring it up to here, but I will hold it virtually. And so let us say together, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. You are my source.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I'm so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
We thank God, we thank Spirit, for before us are these wonderful gifts, gifts of joy that will move forth our congregation, our church, given with love, shared with love, and now that love spreads from this church. Thank you, God. Amen. And where's our children? It's about ready to call them in, right? So, walking in the light. Oh my goodness.
I hope I can remember this. We are walking in the light of God. 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 We are walking, we are walking, we are walking in the light of God. We are walking, we are walking, we are walking in the light of God. Something like that.
Hi, everybody. So, oh, that's my phone going off, letting you know. Sorry. Today we learned about forgiveness, and we learned about the story of Joseph and how he forgave his brothers for kind of doing some awful stuff to him. But he forgave them, and then he helped them, and what he gained in return was a happy family. And the kids talked about what they were thankful for, and a lot of that was their parents. And what else? Apples. All kinds of things. And they worked on some artwork. Will you show me your artwork? Please. Can I show them? Please. Well, they made turkeys out of their hands, some of them. And they talked about what they were thankful for with that, about Thanksgiving. And we worked on our boxes, because we have individual boxes for supplies that are very, very creative, but they didn't want to bring them up to show you yet. So, and that's about it. And I want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. Nobody wanted to talk today, so I said I would talk for them.
All right. Well, we have our blessing and affirmation. So we bless our children wherever they are. We see them surrounded by love and light throughout the week. We have a thriving and edifying youth and family ministry. Prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. We are the power. The presence of God watches over us. Are the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And remember, next week is the first week of Advent. Advent season starts early, so next week is our first Sunday of Advent. Yeah.